¡Fin a la violencia! ¡En Puerto Rico! ¡Fin a la violencia! ¡En Puerto Rico!
The government of Puerto Rico has taken a definite turn for the worse in attacking the civilian population of Puerto Rico in an effort to get as close as possible to a totalitarian regime running the administration of the colonial government in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, historically, legislation is done publicly, openly. Under the new administration of the last year and a half of the new Progressive Party, Partido Nuevo Progresista, they have attempted to now force a number of legislations that address the issue of the budget of Puerto Rico behind the back of the people of Puerto Rico, behind closed doors. And in the effort to do that is the reason they closed down the Capitol and attacked the public that went to see the legislative process. That is totally undemocratic. It is totally unacceptable to us.
The PNP, Partido Nuevo Progresista, is ruling, but what we've seen, there's a tradition, a long tradition, both for the PNP and the PPD, the Popular Democratic Party, to repress both the workers and the students. And this is what's happening. The students, we cannot forget that the students just won the strike in Puerto Rico. And right now, they were also protesting for other civilian rights that we have. And basically what they're doing, it's not out of the blue. They're protesting, and the government right now is installing their power and want to make known that they are in control, taking over public spaces and taking over any protester that is peacefully demonstrating. They will have none of that. So it's not out of nowhere. It's out of that they want control. They want it now, even though that their measures are not working. People are really fed up with their laws. Laws number 7 was restrict the budget and make budget cuts here and there. People are not having it. Like another good example is that they're not having in Puerto Rico, they're going against Law 45. Law 45 is the same thing as a Taylor Law over here. Taylor Law, you can't protest. In Puerto Rico, you can't protest either if you're a closed shop, if you're a union closed shop, because it's against the law. How can it be against the law to go strike? So there's all of that going on.
That the bourgeoisie in Puerto Rico and its masters in the White House is seeking to send an intimidating message to the working people there to not draw the lesson that they can actually win. Because I think that for many people, the fact that even though the war is not over, that the students won a battle against the attempts to privatize education, something that is inspiring a lot of people in Puerto Rico and around the world. So it's necessary that we show international solidarity and that we protest against this attempt to draw the blood of students and workers and to show that they are not alone. We are with them.
It's the fact that the economy is crumbling. Unemployment is, spiking. People are less and less able to, move around, get a job, even if it's a clerical job. The economy is affecting people's pockets, and that is sort of like setting the stage for more anger, more frustration, and things that perhaps could have happened before and never triggered, a massive movement against the government, and perhaps now it could. I really think it's the economy, and the fact that the government in Puerto Rico, of course, it's dumb, it's colonial, and they just don't know how to be intelligent about it. And the economy is not helping the government have the people controlled, and the students have battled the most beautiful war I've ever seen since the 70s, being fought by students at the University of Puerto Rico systematically. And all of these things are just coinciding beautifully to sort of like open people's eyes and say, you know what, we don't want this anymore. Hopefully, it will maintain, it will stay this way, and people will actually want to break.
On civilians, people that are peacefully protesting, peacefully demanding that government needs to be open, that it needs to deliberate in a transparent fashion, they want their voice to be heard. It's very difficult economically all over the country, but in Puerto Rico it's particularly difficult right now. And people are being laid off by the thousands. Decisions are being made on how spending is going to happen. They're talking about raising the tuition on the public education system. These are serious issues. So people are demanding accountability and transparency, and for that, the police department is throwing the police officers onto the protesters. So the images were incredibly alarming, very much causing concern, not only with us here, but obviously with the American Civil Liberties Union and other entities that are monitoring the situation. This is really appalling.
Repression has to stop. That people have a right under the Constitution of the United States, and given to protest, and given that Puerto Rico is a colony of the United States, that's extended so that tear gassing people, beating them up with clubs and teasing them is a violation not of the Constitution of the United States and our human rights as Puerto Ricans. When children, because they were teenagers who were beat by the police, and elderly women get tear gassed for just saying we do not want privatization of our schools, and we do not want our hospitals to be closed down, and we want a voice in government. That is a clear human rights violation.
The government of Puerto Rico at the present time has actually closed the doors to any kind of dialogue in Puerto Rico, and this is exemplified by their handling of the situation with the students, where after they had come to certain accords with the students, they started to immediately violate the accords and undermine the accords. And this is why the students were present in the Capitol building yesterday, trying to get into the session, and this is where the government lost all patience and the police was authorized to attack the students. And I think this is something that the Puerto Rican community in Puerto Rico, and of course in the United States, we have to come together and denounce this type of situation. We knew from the beginning what kind of a government this was, that it was completely reactionary government, but the extremes to which this government has taken its abuse of power is something that we really need to be concerned about and to mobilize about, and that's why
I'm here. I think everyone, all Boricuas in New York City should be supporting what the students in Puerto Rico are doing. I think their victory has been incredible, but they need a lot of support now to continue the victory.
Criminal acts were committed by the police that day. Innocent people were clubbed, pushed, they were tear gassed, and they were hurt. A lot of young innocent people were hurt. A lot of workers were hurt. Clergy were harassed and arrested, and members of the media that were there to observe and record what was going on were also hurt and became victims of this police abuse. So we're here in front of the offices of the Puerto Rican Federal Affairs Administration today to send a loud and clear message to the governor of Puerto Rico and to his cronies in the United States and elsewhere that we got Puerto Ricans here in the United States, in New York City specifically, who are going to raise our voices against these kinds of injustices. And we're going to